did. And then in 1968, very much the Detroit City came back together over the Detroit Tigers, who won the World Series that year. So I'm going to pull up some dead brain cells here, some names from the past of Detroit Tigers baseball players from the 1968 winning World Series here. So I'm going to have a column, and you don't have to type this with me, you're just going to watch for a moment. So I'm going to have a column for their name, hit the spacebar a couple of times. I'm going to have their jersey number, and spacebar a little bit, and then their position, like first base, second base, that kind of stuff. I'm going to hit the enter key to start a new line. So the leadoff batter for the Detroit Tigers in 1968 was a gentleman named Dick McAuliffe. His jersey number was number 3, and his position was second base. I'm going to hit the enter key. Now, any of you who are baseball fans, you will have heard of Tommy John surgery, which is a surgery that happens to many pitchers nowadays to repair an elbow tear. That was named for a pitcher named, who would have guessed, Tommy John, but the fellow that messed him up in a fight was Dick McAuliffe. Tore his arm up, and that's why he needed this surgery that had never been done before. Otherwise, wouldn't that be a rare coincidence that Tommy John would be the first one to have the Tommy John surgery somehow? No, it's not a coincidence at all. So there's more information than you need to know about Dick McAuliffe. All right, Mickey Stanley was their second batter, jersey number 24. So maybe I'm trying to line that up kind of under the 3 there, and then a bunch of space bars. And then he played left field. Actually, Mickey Stanley was the center fielder. And then the greatest Tiger of all time, Al Kaline, number 6, batting third, out in right field. Okay, now, the more I do this, the harder it becomes to get things to line up perfectly. If I turn off the Pilcrows, I can see, all right, so these things aren't quite lined up just right. And so I'm going to click here, I'm going to hit the backspace key, try to line up that a little bit. Uh-oh, that messed up this one. I got to try to put extra spaces in there and get that thing lined up. And then this looks kind of funny because the name McAuliffe comes way over here. And what if I get like a really long name that's about this long? What am I going to do trying to get that person's number in there? So there are several things that are not so good about using the space bar like this to line things up. So what we really want to talk about is maybe using the tab key, because the tab key lines things up on the ruler, like at a half-inch mark up here, where you don't have to hit a bunch of space and then try to eyeball things and move them around a little bit. You'll just be able to move something up on the ruler and fix things. So what you saw in our intro was me working way too hard, hitting spacebar, spacebar, spacebar to try to line things up, and not doing all that great a job. It's kind of hard to get things to line up nicely that way. So what we're going to talk about next is using the tab key with things that can appear upon the ruler here called tab stops to line things up by number on the ruler rather than a whole bunch of spaces out here. So that's what we're going to be talking about right now. Now, I'd like to put a little divider line right down here that signifies I'm finished working on one idea and I'm moving on to another one. So I'm going to hit the enter key a couple of times. By the way, you have not had to create this thing. Don't worry about that. So I've hit the enter key a couple of times, and then I'm going to hit the up arrow key one time. And I'd like to put a little divider line across here. And I'm going to do that by going to the Home tab and noticing this button right here called Borders. And when I click on the sneaky list arrow next to the Borders button, I will see a pull-down list of different kinds of borders that I can use. And as I hover over one, you should actually be able to see what